Hello everybody and welcome to Streaming 101. Again, today we are talking about community building. We have special guest here, CohhCarnage, the man, the myth, the legend. And of course, ProfessorBroman is also here.
Hello. What's up? How are you guys? Hello. So if you're just joining us for the first time on Streaming 101 and you're like, what is this? This is a little bit of a behind the scenes of Twitch, but also we like to sit here and talk about the thought processes that go behind specific things on Twitch. So today we're talking about community building. Community building is a huge part of Twitch. Anytime you ask somebody what's special on my channel, everyone's like, oh, my community. And so we're going to talk about today we're going to examine what community means, how you can build it, and like what value you derive from it. So a lot of you who watch probably know me and Teawrex because, you watch us and you've heard us talk about, Destiny and building community there. But today our guest is CohhCarnage. Say hello, CohhCarnage.
Hello. Good to see you guys.
And Cohh is a long time. How long have you been streaming?
Since April 4th, 2013.
2013, April 4th. I've been streaming longer than Cohh.
I've also been streaming longer than Cohh.
Did not know that. Here I was thinking that you have been on Twitch for like a super long time. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought that. I thought the exact same thing.
I thought Cohh had been on here since like 2011 or something. Like old Justin TV.
You're just that successul that's just the air you give off. That's all he must be around
I actually
since
started
like
74 back during the rush, but
so
back in California.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you guys hear somebody talk about community on Twitch, what do you think are some of the really big highlights or important aspects of community on Twitch?
Ooh,
it's hard. I can go first. I think like we talk about on the stream a lot, one of the biggest strengths that you have as a broadcaster is your like unique personality, the things that make you, your past experiences and things like that. So to me, I think one of the best things you can do in a community is like really put who you are out there so that you attract people that are similar to you, so you can get along, like making friends in real life. Easy. What about you, Cohh?
well, the thing with Twitch is it becomes very easy, especially as you're becoming a larger broadcaster, to lose sight about how important a single viewer can be. And in some cases, especially in the journey of my channel from where it was to where it is, sometimes those single viewers can be linchpins that connect the entire group that you're with between different phases your channel moves through, between different games, that kind of thing. So community, even though it is kind of by definition a large group of people, it's important a lot of times, especially on Twitch, to remember how important it is to cater to the individual as well and foster that community within those people. Because having that really strong core of regulars that comes back every single day, those people that are first to say hi to you in the mornings and are the first to retweet your streams on Twitter, building that core can be one of the most important things that a beginner streamer can do. And it's really easy. I've unfortunately seen streamers get to that 50, 100, 150, 200. Then all of a sudden they're at the 500 mark. Hey, I made it. Awesome. And then all of a sudden you can kind of see the regulars start talking about, oh, man, I kind of remember the day that he used to do, sub games all the time and we could pick the games and stuff like that. And, it's important to listen to that kind of stuff. It's important to kind of connect all the dots and not leave any outliers, especially when the people that are saying that kind of stuff are that core that you want to foster in your channel. So for me, and community is a central focus of my channel. In fact, when I started on Twitch a long time ago and I was researching how Twitch worked, I kind of gave everyone a class, kind of like in a video game. Like, what kind of streamer are you? Every streamer that I was following at the time had like a class and traits. And one of the classes was actually community streamer, where streamers, you can really tell, not only interact with chat a lot, but really do things in their channel to foster that interaction left and right. It's not just them playing games for you to watch, it's them playing games with them. And that's a really important distinction that I think a lot of people appreciate.
That's
a really good answer.
It was an insane answer, actually. That's super good.
To piggyback on that, so you mentioned the importance of regulars, which is, there's a twofold thing. Is one, make sure that in your batch of regulars, not to say that you have to like kick people out or anything like that, but also make sure that the folks who you include who are always there don't burden yourself with a regular who is toxic. Make sure that if you have someone who's, even though they're subbed to you or they love watching you, if they're putting down others and stuff like that, don't be afraid to maybe lose one regular, because then they're ruining the experience for others. But that's super rare, so that's typically not a thing you have to worry about too much.
It is rare. It's also, I mean, to kind of go on that thought, I've had to walk that very uncomfortable path with two mods that I used to have. When I transitioned from speedrunning full time to streaming Destiny full time, it was sort of it was a gradual transition, and I had been speedrunning the same game for like 2 years, so like I was exhausted, I was experiencing burnout. I was hyper competitive, so like waking up every day and being like, I'm going to get the world record today, and then like day after day after day, like you don't get it, you just get shit on, it's frustrating. So like sometimes you need a break. So I'm making in the middle of this transition, I started playing Destiny, and some of my viewers don't like it. That's fine. You're transitioning content. But then, you have people coming in that are really strong regulars saying things that are just horrible, and then talking crap about whatever you're playing. And then they start attacking you for playing it, and oh, you abandoned us and all this other stuff. And I'm sitting here like, I'm just trying to have fun. I think one of the biggest regrets I have streaming and building my community was not dealing with that problem, I guess, quicker. Sort of like being
it's like a cancer sometimes.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Like I was caught in the middle with it, and I needed to rip it out. And I just couldn't, because I had this emotional, because these are people who've been with me since I had like 10 viewers. And it feels like I can't, it felt emotionally wrong to tear those people out of my channel, but I needed to. So community building, and that's huge. That's actually what one of my undergraduate degrees is in, community management. And, community building, I've always liked the metaphor of a garden. Like you have to take care of it. You have to tend to individual plants. Like Cohh mentioned, some things take more attention than others. But you also have to make sure that if you have weeds in there, you take them out. And that's the hard part, is knowing what the right thing to do is there. You talked about building individual engagement. And I kind of wanted to know, what is your philosophy behind that, Cohh? Building individual engagement for a streamer.
It's kind of interesting because it very much varies from viewer to viewer. It becomes like a lot of times viewers, just like streamers can have classes, viewers can have different types too. There's the type of viewer that's going to spam the same thing until you respond to them over and over. There's the kind of viewer that wants to keep you updated on events that are interesting in their life or things that they think they interest you. And you need to kind of decide how you want to treat those people. There's viewers that want to make it a mission to walk the line with you. They are there every day. They are regulars, but it is their mission to try to get under your skin in every way possible that doesn't break the rules. And honestly, those viewers are, in my case, some of the more fun.
Yeah.
Math. Anyway, so and it can be cool. But what's important, and this kind of ties into what you were just saying, Broman, knowing when to drop the hammer and when not to drop the hammer, that is a skill. That is a skill that Twitch streamers have. Knowing when to ban, knowing when to time out, knowing when to enforce rules, and when to let things slide. That is something that I'm still learning now, doing this almost 4 years. I just graduated from journeyman to apprentice in how to properly ban people, and it's something that I learn all the time. And in kind of going on that same kind of connectivity there, when you have, like, for instance, you were talking about mods. When I first started, I was in this very interesting position of things were really taking off. They were about to come to a head. And I had this one older gentleman mod and this one younger female mod. And the younger girl, very kind of relaxed, let's have fun, let's just play together. Older male mod, hey, I've run 3 businesses, let's do this right. And what ended up happening is I was so focused on my streaming and so focused on, just all the other stuff besides that I didn't realize over the course of a couple months, not only were my mods picking sides, my community was picking sides. So I got to this point where finally the guy straight up comes to me one night and he goes, you need to decide me or her. And then whoever you decide, you need to get rid of the other person. And I just was like, Like, okay, first of all, like this is one of the harder lessons I learned because I was not I should, just like you were saying, I should have been more cognitive to this point. And of course, all of these flames would erupt on a Minecraft server of all things. When one of them turned out the the other one's like a barbarian, right? Yeah. But no, it got to the point where I was like, you just have to take stock of the situation and apply the band-aids as best as you can. And in my case, I had to ban the dude. Like I actually just a week or two later ended up banning the chick as well because I was like, anyone who's going to take sides in a community, I'm not interested in having you here. We are a group, and if you are interested in attacking anyone else in this group, you're not a part of this group. That's like being a part of this group, being in this community is understanding, appreciate. I mean, the whole community motto we have is happy, helpful, respectful. You know, those are the 3 words that represent my channel. And if you can't do that, then there's plenty of other amazing broadcasters for you to watch on Twitch.
Exactly.
And I, some people aren't looking for that, and that's totally cool. Which is another big thing about community. Establishing your rules and your sets of rules, letting people know clearly and openly what you expect from them, what they can expect from you, and politely letting them know if you're not interested in what I'm giving, there's lots of better places to be. You'll be happier. We'll be happier. The world will keep on turning, and everyone's going to have a good time. You know what I mean? But it's identifying those people that are clearly there for the wrong reasons, and just like you said, getting those weeds out of there early. I just realized I covered like 6 different points and barely connected you. So
that's perfect. That's that's the thing that like that's why we do these is because everybody thinks that every question has this really simple singular answer. But it's a fucking network spiderweb mess. Like every single choice you make as a streamer, especially when you get up to a really high level concept like community, your everything you touch just bleeds into everything else. I was gonna say, like, out hearing you talk about that mod situation was like, that was probably like some of the best therapy I've ever had in my life. Like I didn't realize other people had gone through stuff like that. Like that's huge. I mean, like that makes me feel better about what I went through. I'm sure if anyone's listening later, they're going to be like, oh my God, I had no idea.
Dude, I have a good friend streamer who his mod team rebelled against him.
Jeez.
It wasn't an either or. It was his 5 mods got together and said, if you don't change the way you're running your channel, we're all going to leave.
Holy shit.
And it's like, and what they were basically trying to do is get him to go back to the stuff that he was doing before that was not very successful for him, and he didn't want to do it. And it's just like, what do you do at that point? Wow. He had to let them all go. He let all of them go, and he actually lost some of his core when he did it too, because one of the mods then started streaming. So it's just like, well, aren't you a big old floppy dick? But it's just like, yeah, it can be nuts, man. And all this just goes to show you like how you deal with this stuff can decide the future of your channel in a lot of ways. A lot of people just write off community. And that's honestly how a lot of channels don't make it very far sometimes, is because they don't focus on that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. And plus the amount of communities you have, too. Because we're talking about the overarching, like, when you think of community on Twitch, a lot of folks only think of, okay, when I'm live, this is the community you have. When your community cultivation goes beyond that. There's the community you have on Twitter. There's the community you might have on Discord. There's the community you have, obviously, while streaming. And then, of course, I would say the other important one, besides the one while you're streaming, is your mod community. Because that so heavily dictates how your stream goes. Culture. So if they're there to enforce their own rules versus your own, that's a huge problem. And that's something that I've had to have a conversation a few times. And luckily, the folks who I've talked to about it being like, hey, you and I were having a different opinion on how this should be handled. And it's fine that you have those opinions, but this is my channel. And sadly, I'm going to need you to either do what I ask you to, or I'll just have to, you just can't be a mod here. I love you here, because, like, they just as much dictate how chat flow happens as much as you do. So if they're there banning things all the time and kind of bringing the really aggressive tendencies versus maybe being more deflective of, negative topics and stuff like that, that can definitely ruin things really quickly. It's something that I still fall into occasionally, to where, maybe my emotions get the better of me, or a mod's does, because we're all human. That's something I think a lot of people forget, is that mistakes happen, and things aren't always handled the best way that they can. But, when it comes to community, ideally everyone knows that, because they've seen you at your best, so they can understand maybe when you're at your worst and stuff like that too.
Like when I play For Honor.
Yeah. No, I mean that's not a bad point. Like if you're in a position to where you are wildly successful, like I know I'm the smallest out of the three of us. There's Broman and then Cohh, and you guys are in a whole different echelon than I am. But if I and it's a conversation I've had with Broman before about like hey, is it right to maybe pay a moderator, like someone who can just take off ideally the burden of having that conveyance of what you as a broadcaster want with the rest of your mod team. Because when it comes to farther along streaming and community, there's only so much you can do alone. You need to start delegating, which I have only recently started doing after 4 years. Omni Waffle has been handling so many amazing things for me, and it's allowed me to focus on like just streaming again. And it's been so much better for me. Like I feel like my streams are better and stuff like that too, and I can be more engaged with my live community and my Discord community and stuff like that too, and even Twitter. So I know that was like, once again, that's a whole bunch of different things, but I guess because that's the question. How would you feel about paying if you financially were able to, and you were at a place where it was important to have like a head mod? Do you think it's important?
I'm sure Cohh pays one of his mods. Is this true?
I pay all of my moderators, and I have a full infrastructure team. So I have 3 coders, a dedicated artist, a sound effect guy, junior and senior mods, a mod coordinator, and a kind of secretary position as well. So and it's really here's kind of the way it works. Paying mods is going to be completely subjective to the channel. It also really matters on how you run your channel. So for instance, it wouldn't really make a lot of sense for someone like Dan's Gaming or Soda Poppin' to pay mods. Because they just kind of let their chat go crazy, and they have very few rules. So why would they, right? They'll always have volunteers that can purge out the absolute worst stuff. But if you run a channel that has, a lot of rules, or a lot of the rules are subjective or gray, or you have, you really want to keep a channel crystal clear from the beginning of the stream to end of the stream every single day, and you need people there at the start of the stream, that's when you start thinking about paying your moderators. So in my case, a couple of years ago, especially after that big mod schism, me and my current mods got together and kind of decided at that point, like, we're going to make this professional. Like, this is going to become a business. I now have a business. In fact, we're very soon I'm actually going to be employing my mods as full-time 1099, the whole 9 yards. And that process all came from kind of realizing how important that gear was in the machine that's my channel. At this point, we have we've all been working together now, my mod team, for about 2 years, and it's to the point where I can't do the show without my team. Like, as I say frequently on my stream now, I'm the guy on screen playing games, but there is a fleet of people that manage the overlays, the graphics, the infrastructure, our bots. Everything we do from the ground up is custom and designed for the channel. We have a merch guy now. I have a management team that helps me get deals. Like, it's become so much bigger than just me. Yeah. So when people say, like, hey, what are you, a streamer guy playing games all day? It's like, no. No. Like, this is,
if only they knew.
Yeah, I'm actually supporting multiple people. Like, this is much more than streamer guy playing video games, and it's pretty amazing that we've had the avenues to get to this point. But something that's important to say is, and every time I say this, I have to be super careful. I don't advocate every channel paying their mods. I'm not going out there and say all mods on Twitch should be paid. The mods on my channel get paid because they do a lot more than just watch, chat, and click. They have API backends. When my mods get in for the day, they go into a channel and they in, like you would a punch card. And when they're done, they out. And we track their hours, and they get paid by activity. So, like, there's all these other things that go into it that are outside of that. On my channel, it makes sense that I pay them. It does not make sense on every channel to get paid. And a lot of times that message gets lost. So I want to make sure that's kind of said there.
Yeah, no, I wanted to ask you if they have a punch in and punch out, because I actually experimented with paying one of my mods before, and I felt like I did not get the desired result out of it.
I had that issue actually with one of my coordinators.
So I yeah, I was actually really curious about that. So you have like a set hourly rate for each of them, and then they punch in and punch out, and that's their job. Like, we go,
well, there's lots. There's actually it's gotten pretty complicated.
If we get into too much detail, by the way,
each other.
So like if we ask too deep of a question about anything, feel free to be like, I don't really want to talk about that, or like that's proprietary information. It's totally okay.
Absolutely.
If you want to say no.
I appreciate that. That's why you're not going to hear me say a lot of numbers. But the short answer is there's like a general pool. There's a pool for activity. So those that that put in more hours get more. We have this giveaway system that requires a little bit of work. There's a pool for that too. Then of course there's tipping. People tip my mods, and I generally at least once a month do like a mod day where all
I have seen that
from the community go to the mods. Stuff like that. But also something that's really important and something that I really lacked doing and really kind of screwed me over for the first 2 mods that I paid is just like any business, anytime money's involved, you have to be as professional as possible. So one of the things I didn't do at the beginning that I definitely do now is anytime I'm paying someone, I give them a list and I go, you get your money when I get everything on this list. And if one thing is missing, then we'll talk about you getting your money. It's like, and that's it. And it's the kind of thing where it's an agreed upon, okay, you agree to do this, I agree to do this, we're both happy. Everyone understands exactly where they stand 100% of the time. Really, this is basic business stuff. Let's not kid ourselves.
No, it's not.
You run a business, this is how you do it. And that's where I learned this from, is looking into how to run a business properly. But a lot of people don't do that. And a lot of people are just like, oh, you know what? I'll give you $250 to mod 40 hours a month. Cool. Well, that's great. What about on the 4th month when they're putting in 30 hours and you're coming to them and being like, hey, so I just, what's going on? Like that is never a conversation you want to have ever. You just make it crystal clear, black and white, math, done. As little wiggle room as possible on both sides. You don't want any on yours. You don't want them to have any either. Just make it nice and simple. A lot
of folks seem to think that professionalism and community are at odds with one another, which I think is a pretty large fallacy, depending on how you do it.
That's a good point.
Because, for example, like...
real quick, for those in chat, we don't do contracts. Just for people are like,
that was going to be my next question. So no contracts? Okay.
I don't do contracts right now. There may be contracts in the future once it becomes a little bit more like official, which it is quickly moving towards. But right now, I don't do contracts. I keep, because it's still a pretty informal industry, until it formalizes in that regard, it could just cause issues earlier. So I have tried contracts. They worked okay, but there were definitely some glaring issues because a lot of times streamers don't know exactly what they need in a month or two. So it's important to kind of keep it, liquid in our environment. Be ready to adapt to anything you may run into.
That's smart. That's really smart. So I really did think that you brought up a great point about like compensation and structuring and the way that you run things is that, and this ties back to you need to do you on Twitch. That's how you're successful. Is that like, I've heard you mention before, you like to run like a PG-16 channel, right? Is this accurate? Like you have
safe for work is what we're calling it now.
Safe for work, safe for work channel. So it's curated up to the point where like everybody's walking a line. So it's sort of, you have an idea that you want disseminated throughout the community. Like this is the line that we can walk, but it's like you said earlier, it's fluid and that's really difficult to enforce. So you have people who represent you, and they're responsible, like it's part of their job, to do that. What would you say, to somebody who is just getting started or maybe just getting partnered looking for a mod squad? Like
3 words.
Okay.
Lead by example.
Ooh.
Done. It's the absolute best way to get mods. You put forth the face that you want for your channel. You put forth the face that you want when you don't have any mods, which I didn't for a while. You ban people. You say why you banned them. You say why they're never allowed back or why they'll be back in 24 hours. You act how you want your mods to act. Do as you want them to do. And over time, people in your chat, those regulars we talked about earlier, especially if you foster that relationship with them, will start going, hey, all that stuff I've been seeing you do the last few months, I could help you with that. And then all of a sudden you look over in chat for the first time and something you would have banned gets banned by that mod. And you're just like, yeah, right. That's good.
I like that.
That's what I want right there. And then all of a sudden they're taking initiative. So like a lot of people don't understand, like every day you spend with your mods is you training your mods and your mods training you. They're training you on how to properly interface with them. You're training them on what you're expecting from your channel in that community. So the longer you have mods around, the more they're going to understand how you work, the more they're going to understand how you flow. That's one of the reasons, for instance, like we used to have just mod team. Now we have junior and senior mods. So the senior mods are like the regulars that have been around forever. They do more stuff. They're more complicated. That has more complication in it. The junior mods just focus on chat, and they watch and they observe and they learn the environment. And then when a senior mod positions opens up, the ones that we see that are really working get moved into the senior group. So it's like a conveyor belt of kind of adjusting to the environment.
That was that's such a good answer. Back when I taught, because I don't know if you know this, I taught high school for a little while. Back when I taught high school, the phrase in the classroom is "you make your own weather." So like you can have idiot children in your classroom, and if you respond to them like an idiot, it's just going to spiral out of control. But if you are upfront and you're calm and you are in control of the situation, people respond to the energy that you put out there. And I did not. I've had those moments of satisfaction that you've said before, where you see a mod ban something that you would have banned, and you're like, oh, and I hadn't really put that together. And that's hard. And that also is moves to something else that I think is really important in community, and something that I wanted to discuss while you were here, and we've already touched on a little bit, is how do you manage change in your community? So you have done things one way for a long time, and now you saw this new concept, and you're like, holy shit, I really love this. Maybe it's something you haven't done before. Maybe it's something you didn't even like before. Like for my example, the thing that I've gone through with this was like, I used to never do giveaways. Like I hated them because there wasn't a proper tool for it, right? Like I didn't want to have my chat get spammed. I didn't want people to like constantly beg for like when's the next giveaway and all this stuff. And so for a long time, I didn't do giveaways on my channel. And then by the time I finally introduced them, everyone in chat was like, hey, wait a minute. This is bullshit. I thought this was a giveaway free zone. And I'm like, no, I just love you and I want to give you things. Like I thought for a solid like month and a half, like what is my response going to be to this question? Because I'm going to get asked it so much. So for me, I think like when you're making a change, there's a lot of planning, and you need to expect like blowback. You need to have an answer for most questions and things like that. But like, how do you manage change, Cohh? What do you think?
There's
managing change.
Two important aspects to it. And the first is groundwork. Make sure your community understands what you're changing, why you're changing it, and where the channel's going. So putting all that work under the rails, the more time you have, the better. Make commands in your channel explaining what you're going to be doing in 2 weeks. Put it in your title. Make a little video, a 2-minute video on why you're changing something, and put it in a command in your channel so it repeats every 15 minutes so your community can see it. Talk to your community about it. When you see people bringing up stuff, talk to them about it. The second most important part, after you have all the groundwork laid and everything, managing expectations. Make sure they understand what they're getting into, what they're going to see, what they're going to do, what they're going to see change on their screen, how their home, which in some cases they've been coming to for 6 months and is now an important part of their life, is going to change. And then open up that dialogue with your community. And really, it depends on how drastic the change is in a lot of ways. You know, it's one thing if you're switching from Fallout 4 to Witcher 3. It's another thing if you're going from speed running to an MMO. You know, so it's what the type of change a lot of times can dictate how much work you need to put into it beforehand. What I can also say is that, excuse me, I think I need to get some beer here in a second.
Gotta get this
throat's getting scratchy.
Ridiculous.
Another big thing is easing the change. So like in a situation like yours, Bro, now this may have not been feasible. So completely, this is just an example. But in that situation, okay, the first week, you're playing Destiny 2 times that week. Next week, 3 times. Week after that, 4 times. Next month, 5 days the first week, then 6 days. Then during that whole process, you're letting your community know, hey guys, I'm thinking about actually maybe putting speed running on the side for a little bit, focusing on Destiny. And that way your community is slowly making that transition. So everyone can kind of help each other where it's needed, get to where you all want to go. Instead of it just being like, hey, you turn on the stream one day and all of a sudden Your whole channel's fighting. No one knows what's going on. Everyone's like, why isn't he doing this? Well, because he's doing this. Well, that's dumb. What are you talking about? What he's doing now is dumb. And then all of a sudden you start having infighting in your channel where one side's saying the other's stupid. And that's what you want to avoid. And
that was my mistake. like I said, my transition there was my biggest regret. But from it, I've learned, and I advocate this all the time. I talk about it on stream when I get asked about it. And a lot of people are like, why do you hate so-and-so? Because I'll say the things like, if you do just one thing on stream and that's all that you do and you never diversify, it doesn't matter how much everybody in your community says that they love you. If you suddenly start doing something else and you've never prepped them for it, they won't show up. And
they don't expect.
Have something that they don't expect. So so if you do just this one thing, like I tune into your channel because I want to watch you speedrun Super Mario. And that's what you've done for 5 years. And then all of a sudden, and let's say you're speedrunning Super Mario and you get 10,000 viewers a stream speedrunning Super Mario. And you're like, I got a good thing going on. Let's play, I don't even know. Let's play whatever the new hot game is coming. Let's play Horizon Zero Dawn. People are going to, you're going to boot up your stream and it's going to be launch day. And everyone's going to go, where the fuck is Mario? What is this? And not only are people not going to watch, they're going to, all the things you described, you're resentful, they're going to be angry, they're just going to be infighting. And you might be thinking like, oh, hey, I have this great channel. And you might see your viewership tank and all this other stuff because you didn't lay the groundwork for the change. So I think that we're in agreement there. One of the best things that you can do for your community is prep them for any change that's happening and make the change happen slowly. I was lucky, very lucky, that when I transitioned into playing Destiny so much, that game really took off on Twitch. Because if it hadn't, I would have effectively killed my channel. And
to be honest, it very easily could have gone like Warframe. It could have been just like another back alley. It was very interesting over the last few years because I watched the Destiny directory closely. Watching kind of how that connected. And you guys are in this very interesting position where you have what I call a meta community, which not a lot of things on Twitch have, where you have your channel community and then you have a second larger community that sits on top of that. And that opens up all sorts of questions and doors that most streamers don't have. So it's a very interesting place to be. We could have a whole episode on that sometime.
No, yeah, I think that that's actually a fantastic way to define it, is that it's a meta community, because when myself, Teawrex, King Ithalian, Ramez, a lot of the people that were streaming the game consistently at the beginning, we all got together and we said, what do we want to see with this game? Like, this game is presenting an opportunity for us to build like a home for people on Twitch. And if we work together and we have the same message across, every channel, that we expect people to be nice and that everybody bans jerks, and we just don't tolerate toxicity, it's going to create like this place where a lot of people can grow. And I think out of all that work, like, now the Destiny community still manages to thrive on Twitch, even though there is not necessarily tons of content for the game right now. It's still a place that a lot of people would consider home. And I think that is because of really well-defined groundwork of rules that are kind of just respected across all channels. Teawrex has been quiet for a while.
I'm not by choice.
Oh, sorry.
I've really been included in the conversation.
I was sorry. I was just waiting for you to interject like we always do.
I was trying, and then Cohh decided to cut me off earlier again. I was letting everything run its course. It's fine.
Seriously, I could just talk solo the whole time. Y'all cut me off anytime you want. Just interrupt my ass. Seriously. I'm getting a beer. 1 sec.
No, you're good, man. No, yeah, Destiny is a very interesting thing. To kind of go back to what you're talking about transitioning, you mentioned moving from 1 a day, 2 a day, 3 a day, 4 a day. Even on top of that, one thing you can do, especially even before that. So, for example, for me, I've been a super huge Mass Effect fan forever. That game has more or less inspired me to like really enjoy video game story and really enjoy writing as a whole. So that was like a special game series for me. So I talked for months about like how I'm going to take an entire month and frame Mass Effect 1 through 3 all DLC, all that kind of stuff.
Franchise run, hell yeah.
Yeah, it was one of my favorite things. Love doing it. It was a really awesome experience. But then, like, talking about that, like, months ahead of time, and even then, even with all the conversation in the world, there's still not that immediate transition of where is this? So even when you do prepare a community, still be prepared for those folks to still ask those questions, because it's still going to happen. One thing I learned when I was doing 12 to 14 hours a day is one thing you can do as well is if you have the time and you have the energy, you can do your standard stream and then pack that on at the end or at the start. So that way you always have what they're used to, it's always there, and then maybe if they want to stick around and tune into it, it's at the tail end or it's at the start. Or maybe it's in the middle as like a lunch break for them or something like that. For when Overwatch came out, I was also doing a Final Fantasy Tactics run because that's my favorite game of all time. So I did Destiny in the morning, and then I would play Final Fantasy Tactics for a while, for like 2-3 hours, and then I'd play Overwatch with my friends for about 2 or 3 hours in the evening, and that ended up being about 12-hour days every single day for about 3 weeks. And then doing all my post-stream stuff and pre-stream stuff too. But it was worth it because I feel like I hit everything I wanted to hit, and no one felt left out in the cold. Because like that's what really drives me is I want to provide people a place where they can ideally, maybe not always, it's not always the same content, but it's always the same me. And that's something that I can control. A lot of folks, I think, forget that sometimes, that even if your content changes, you don't have to. If you are giving them a consistent experience with you, no matter what backdrop is there, it can always be the same. That's something I built, because I feel like I don't have a hard time transitioning. I still get the questions of like, why aren't you playing Destiny, or why aren't you doing this? That's always going to happen regardless, but I don't have the backlash. I've never had that before, of you've abandoned this other thing, because I feel like that's just the way I run my channel. I probably talk too much and focus too much on other things, but I guess it's I don't know, it's weird because I feel like I've had the opposite experience of the transitioning backlash for the most part. Numbers have changed, they always will, but in regards of like actual frustration, I don't think I've ever seen that before.
It's kind of interesting about what you were saying with the split streams, because I actually have incorporated that exact concept into my every single day schedule, where I'm on a challenge, as you guys probably know, 4-year challenge, a little over 3 years now of streaming every single day. So every day I do an 8 to 12 block, generally around that. And that will be like the showcase game. That'll be a big playthrough I'm doing, a franchise, a new game, a classic, 100% run. Like that'll be my big stream. And then I come back in the afternoon, and generally it's something completely different. So like these days, you know, I just worked through the Stalker series, fantastic series. You guys should definitely play them. And I just finished up Metro this morning. So I did those in all the mornings. And then in the afternoons, I was doing Rainbow Six, For Honor, totally different games. And also a fantastic way to transition into variety streaming is doing that kind of thing, where you have like your main course in the morning, and then your side dish in the afternoon is whatever you want it to be. And as people see that day after day after day, they're kind of like, oh, okay, I'm getting kind of used to this. This is good. This is that slow transition that we were just talking about. And that's awesome. So, but unlike UT, I have unfortunately been in the position many times where I have had people angry at me for switching games. And the main reason that is because I started as an MMO streamer.
Yeah.
So what I would do is I would play these MMOs like Final Fantasy 14, in some cases every day for weeks to months. And then inevitably, after I get to the end game and I have all the best stuff for that time and I don't want to wait until the next patch, let's play something else. So, and then it always starts morning of the MMO, afternoon of something different. And then all of a sudden the game comes out I want to play. And then I'm not playing that MMO in the morning. And that first stream, almost every time, was always full of, oh no, is Cohh quitting? Oh, everyone's gonna quit now. Oh, Cohh, come back. No, turn this crap off. No one wants to watch this. Come back to Final Fantasy. And that the next week or two, no, even if I go back to Final Fantasy every so often, or whatever MMO I'm playing at the time, that happens. But unfortunately, that's just one of those really rude realities of being a streamer, where
no
if you make a home in a game and people join you in that home, never, not a single time, is everyone going to want to leave at once. Ever. You will always have people that the second you leave are like, that guy.
Yeah.
So a question for
always
that
happens.
then is: do you think that is something you encounter with scale?
Oh,
that
well,
that
yes,
specific
absolutely.
problem might be related to. So for me, like, you know, I have 500 plus folks who I know are almost always going to tune in, regardless of anything, and then that can go up. But that variance is insane. But you know, if you're day to day, let's just use an example, 2,000. Do you think that 2,000 versus 500 for your everyday concurrent, no matter what, that the 2,000 is going to have a higher revolt rating or just kind of like transitional riots than the 500? Do you think it's just the same percent
I like
all the way
these
through?
words.
There's different ways you can do it. It depends on A, how the streamer prepares their caster for the transit or for their community for the transition, and B, how vocal their outliers are. Which is gonna, like, you could be a 300 person stream, but you could have 10 people in there that are super pissed that you left.
Oh, really loud.
Then you could be a 2,000 person stream that just has 1 or 2 people that are kind of vocal about it, and then one of them talks the other one down, and you're good to go. But like, for instance, one of the things, like in the first few MMOs that I did, I had that transition you were just talking about, T, and it was really bad. And especially this game came along called WildStar, which I got super hyped about, and we're gonna have a guild, and it's gonna be
WildStar.
I'm
awesome,
so
and I
sorry.
can't wait.
I'm so sorry,
Dude, oh, well, get this story. I basically drummed up everyone's hype for this game, thousands of people. Halfway through the second day of playing, I quit WildStar.
Yep.
And I'm an MMO. I've been playing MMOs since EverQuest 1. Like, I love a good MMO. But halfway through the second day of WildStar, I was just like, this is a reskinned WoW. I'm not having fun. This isn't good. And it was at that point, that was the last MMO that I ever played, that I realized how important it was. Right, at that point I didn't, but now I realize how important it was to manage expectations.
Oh my gosh.
Like, before anyone, and now these days, like, that was a hard lesson to learn. I lost some good friends over that. I'm not gonna lie. Like, there were a lot of people that were very frustrated that I made all these plans and then dropped them for good reason. That's kind of a crappy thing to do. And I wish I would have liked WildStar and wanted to play more, but I just didn't like it. But now, anytime I play an MMO, anytime any of these big community games come out, totally upfront with people. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna play this MMO until I'm not having fun. That could be weeks or months. I have no idea. I won't be around forever. like let's make this super clear. And I will start my stream with that almost every day. Like, when these new MMOs come out, Crowfall, Camelot Unchained, Pantheon, like, these are all games I want to try. So understanding going into those how you really got to manage the expectations of the community can make that future transition from day one be so much smoother. It's night and day smoother.
We've learned similar lessons, Cohh, because I also learned that exact same lesson when Bungie brought me out for the House of Wolves reveal, and I was so hyped because I got to go play the game and the story early, and I was like, this DLC is gonna be the fucking shit, and it's gonna be awesome, and everyone's gonna love it. And then, like, it launches, and everyone's blew through the content in 3 days, and I'm sitting there, you know, like, with my pants down, and everyone's like, you told me this was gonna be awesome, you piece of shit.
All of a sudden, you become the enemy.
I'm the bad
You
guy.
become the person that they're mad at, not
And
the
that
game. You.
Yeah, and that was when I learned that, like as a broadcaster, at one point you have to realize that you have social influence, and even though you might want to be like a gamer and your freest self, and you might be geeking out about something like, holy shit, this game looks awesome, like, just like anyone else in the entire world might do, you can't do that on stream sometimes, because you are going to set other people's expectations, and as much as you can be left out or feel let down, they can feel let down as well. So managing expectations is huge.
There's a lot of trust between viewers and streamers. Like, if we like it or not, there's a lot of trust there. So it's important to respect that when we can.
A lot of that also comes down to the terminology you use versus, like, I'm excited versus, man, like, saying, kind of making it a question to them, like, aren't you excited about this great insert game? Versus being like, I'm really excited for Horizon Zero Dawn versus, like, are you guys excited about Horizon Zero Dawn? Because the way you phrase it makes it sound like it's a rhetorical question, being like, yeah, of course I'm excited about Horizon Zero Dawn. That guy's excited. Why shouldn't I be excited? And then, you know, then maybe the game comes out and it's like, I was excited and it's Pac-Man. What? Why did this even happen? Like, and then everyone's confused and you drop it. And then you have that revolt almost, and the finger pointing and the blaming. But then something I want to touch on that you mentioned one earlier with giveaways and with even, like, managing expectations. It kind of revolves around Sustainability. So, in regards to managing expectations in giveaways, if you are a channel who is starting out and manage your community to where it's like every 100 followers, I give away a $10 Steam gift card or something like that, and you make that hard, this is exactly what happens every time this milestone happens, that is, I can tell you, that is not sustainable. It's not going to be eventually. You're gonna maybe you'll have a fantastic time and you get like, let's say 1,000 followers in a stream, and then you're dishing out $100, and then who knows how many folks are only there for that. So make sure when you're also building your community that you maybe try to keep things as sustainable as possible. Think about the future. Think about, what if I did in fact get the viewers I wanted? What if I got the follower count I wanted? What does that look like to you? Because that's why I personally avoided giveaways for a long time. And I would be like, all right, guys, we hit this milestone, I'll do a giveaway. Versus being like, when we hit this milestone, I will do a giveaway. Because that's a different expectation to have. Versus like, oh, we did a cool thing. Maybe something cool happens. Versus it being like, the goal is the giveaway. I don't know if that makes sense a whole lot. But
I think that makes sense.
I guess just be real careful. Because it's a really good thing you can do. It's great to give back. It's awesome too. And I love giving things. It's just... Ben knows I'm incredibly practical, so like I don't really spend money on things ever. So I love being able to be like, hey man, I'll get you this game, or I'll do this, that, or the other. So now they can do that on a larger scale for folks who are just as passionate about maybe gaming or streaming as I am. That's a great feeling. But if you make it to where it's what you always do, I think that sets up a couple things. One being that's potentially all people are there for, and two, you're going to start burning a hole in your pocket real fast if you can't afford that. So it's a double whammy.
For sure.
I think that like long term, like everything that you do on your channel has a long term effect, and so that when you're thinking about what kind of community I want to build, you need to have expectations that you can set, and those expectations need to be set off of, oh, if I show up here and I watch every day, I'm guaranteed to be able to play with the streamer. Like that might be how you have your channel set up, but like you're always going to run into issues of scale, and like that's the ultimate problem, is that in the beginning it might be easy to do a giveaway for every 100 followers, or say if you've watched me for 10 hours I guarantee we'll get a match in, or something like that. But if you're as your channel scales up, you might have 1,000 people, 2,000 people, 3,000 people that you now owe this to, and now you've put yourself in a spot where you can't deliver on something that people want. And learning how to like transition out of or deal with those problems of scale is a huge part of growing. I've noticed, Cohh, you have like a really interesting loyalty program on your channel, where it's like points and there's like achievements, and you have like web subs and stuff. What could you break that down for people who've like this is people who watch this are folks who've never streamed before. So like neither T or I T started using a little bit of a loyalty program with Revlo, right? Mm-hmm. But like I don't use any sort of like loyalty points stuff. So could you break that down for people and like your thought process behind that? I think that would be like huge info dump bomb thing for folks.
Absolutely. So it all started with tokens. I remember the first time I was in a channel and there was a channel currency, and I was really confused at first. I was like, what is this? How does this work? And got the breakdown. I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, but immediately it was like, this system is trash. Like this could be so much more than it was. And that's where, when I met my first infrastructure guy, whose name is Roderick, and he started as a complete volunteer, who he is now definitely a big part of the infrastructure team. I'll just leave it at that. But started as a volunteer, and he threw this bot together, and we started working on it a little bit, and he kept growing it out on the back end, and then I had a website and stuff, and this was all in tandem with me trying to get partnership on Twitch. Well, by the third time I got denied partnership, I was streaming 16 hours a day. Like at this point, and there were people in chat that were like, how did you not get partnership? This is ridiculous. In some cases, hundreds of people doing this. So we were like, okay, I talked to my buddy Roderick, and I was like, okay, can we sub on the website? Can we just set up something on the website so they could sub to? And then maybe the bot could detect it. We could do some fun stuff. So that was my first sub button, was me going, hey, want to sub to the channel? Well, Twitch won't give me a sub button, so go to coalition.com and sub there. And people could go there and subbed. And in like the first day I had that up, I had like 200 plus subscribers, which was kind of nice because there was no split. And I was like, this is pretty cool, there, right? Yeah. This is awesome. So very shortly after, Twitch gave me the sub button. And this was during Final Fantasy. And Twitch gave me the sub button. And this was back when they used to give partnership first. And then a few weeks would go by and you get your sub button. So I get my message from Twitch after being denied 3 times. And then I finally had like a week of 1,500 plus viewers streams straight. So I sent the email to Twitch and I was like, give me partnership, period. It was like one line. Like, I met your damn Rex. Give me partnership. And the guy replies like within an hour or two. And he was like, okay, cool, you got partner. So within 5 minutes of that, I told my stream, hold on. And I went to the email and I replied and I said, look, here's the deal. I know it's going to be a while until you have my sub button up. So how about this? Go ahead and give me the sub button now. I already got 200 people subbed to my website. Here's a list. It's all already there. Like you're losing money if you don't do this. Like I went straight business on Twitch. I was like, you're just straight up losing money if you don't give me this button now. Next day I had my sub button. Was really hyped about that. So at that point, that day, I announced on my stream, like, hey, we're going to go ahead and take down the web sub. You know, we're done with that. We're going to focus on Twitch. You know, big thanks to Twitch. You know, don't they take a split? Yeah, but I want to be here anyway. You know, like, and that was it. There was so much pushback from my community on that they wanted the web sub to stay on the web. They wanted to be able to sub in 2 places to support me. And I was like, dudes, like, this is ridiculous. You guys are amazing. Like most communities on Twitch, they're amazing. So I said, okay, well, here's the deal. I'm at least going to drop it by half. So if you sub on CohhLegion.com, it's half price. Now, at the time, sub giveaways were the rage, right? Towley hadn't been removed from Twitch at that point.
We hadn't had the prosecution, hadn't happened yet. Yeah.
So what we did was...
And everyone was learning. Yeah.
Exactly. Everyone was learning. Everyone was feeling out the waters, right? So what we did was our bot could intelligently detect if you were subbed on the website or Twitch, and people could sub for half price on my website and still be in sub giveaways. So there was like this incentive there. And I was like, okay, cool, right? So you can pay half, still be in sub giveaways. Cool. Well, so many people did that. All of a sudden, I noticed like I almost had more people dual subbed. Like there were more web subs than Twitch subs. I was like, okay, so we need to find some way to reward this. So that's when the dual sub program came together. So we do these monthly giveaways called Hugeaways, $500 or more every single month. If you sub on Twitch and my website, you automatically get entered into every one of those. You don't even need to be in the channel. You don't even need to have watched me for months. If you're dual subbed, you auto get entered. Any giveaway I do myself, instead of it being a normal giveaway, it's called a community giveaway, and dual subs are auto-entered, and they have 24 hours to claim their prize if they're win. And again, they don't have to enter. They're just auto-entered. So that's one little aspect of that. Now, I literally could take up the next hour talking about all the stuff. We have a achievement system. We track giveaways. We track time. We have a token system, a hello queue. I have a custom coalition application. We have a leveling system. You're soon going to be able to pick a class. You're going to have an ability in the channel. You can purge other people. You can give them your tokens. There's a whole token system. Blah, 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 blah. Literally 2 more hours of me just doing that. But needless to say, every single month it grows. Every month we try to take it further. The goal of this channel is to never stop doing new things. The only way to go is forward, and stagnation is going backwards. So I now have 3 full-time coders that help me do it. Every month we meet as a group and we decide, what are we getting developed this month? What are we going to do? How are we going to implement it? In fact, spoiler alert, one of the next features we have coming up is a plugin that lets me click on things in chat and they slide out on my screen.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So anytime someone asks a question, instead of me just responding to the voice that no one on YouTube can see, I can click on it, chat, the question will slide out on the screen, and everyone will see who asked it and what I'm talking to. So I can actually have conversations with viewers where I'm in real time posting their response on the screen in slide outs as the show goes on. And we have probably 20 plus ideas like that are under development right now, that we're just kind of working to move forward. So the cool thing about Twitch, and one of the reasons that this is by far the best job I've ever had and ever will have, this is a brand new world. We can do anything. There's no rules. There's no right answer. Anything we do is entirely up to us. So there's no like you have to do it this way or you have to do it this way. You don't have to do it anyway. You can forge your own path right wherever you want to go. And it's really cool to see streamers do that, because every so often you come across streams that really are doing that and you're just kind of like, holy shit. And that happens to me all the time. So, and I'm sure it happens to you guys all the time too.
Oh yeah,
but
absolutely.
It's
I would say it's happening right now, just a little bit, just like
It's really fun, and it's like the Wild West. It's the Wild West right now during a gold rush. That's basically where we are right now. It's California in the 40s, you know, and like there's all this gold laying around everywhere, and all we have to do is reach out and pick it up. That's it.
Yeah, and for those of you that are listening on YouTube or something, and you just heard Cohh say all that stuff, and you're like, "Fuck! If I want to compete, there's no way I can do all this shit." Like here's the thing.
I'm a terrible streamer. I just got all that tech going.
You just got great tech. No,
thank God.
Cohh, and Cohh mentioned this from the beginning. Everything that he does on his channel is an organic extension of his original intent. Like I've been watching you for a little while, so that when we talked about this, I could ask some informed questions. But what I didn't know about your web subs was that started before you got your sub button. Like, you know, like there's all these things that, like, everything you mentioned, like about improving and about adding more tech to your channel and constantly driving forward is like an extension of who you are as a broadcaster and your desire to create. And you create in that direction. And, you know, the direction of like increasing engagement, getting more people involved, making people have a place to belong. And everybody on Twitch, you're going to have a different direction. So whereas Cohh might be like a paragon example of if you are trying to grow your community, like focal points that you can do as a broadcaster. But there might be other people out there. You might have also listened to things that like Cohh and T and I have been saying and thought like, this is all bullshit. And it's totally possible. You know, if you're starting to stream, there's always people out there that are going to be representative of what you like to do or where you want to go in a direction, and finding those people and learning from them is super important. Mm-hmm. And especially when you're starting out, don't look at somebody who's been doing it for 4 or 5 years and be like, I have to have every single one of the things that they have or I'm screwed, or I have to have every single thing that they have before my channel even matters. I think that that's one of the big deterrents that keeps people off of streaming, is that they feel like there's this massive pile of overwhelming information that they have to consume to get started, mm-hmm. or to get up to speed to compete. But the cool thing about streaming is you can just start doing it, and you can just start. Yeah, that's what all of us did.
Yep, that's right.
You just start broadcasting and you move forward and you learn as you go. And that's one of the reasons why we do this podcast, and we wanted to talk about community building in specific, because your community is going to grow with you from the second you start. And having intentionality and purpose behind every single thing that you do, even though all three of us maybe didn't when we started, we all have it now. And that's what helps drive our channels forward.
Well said.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And to bring it all back around to just community, about just the whole building and stuff like that, is that a lot of Cohh's decisions focus on what he wanted to do this community before he even got partnered, and Ben touched on that too. But think about that for a second, because for a lot of casters, a lot of them, it's partnership is endgame, and they do everything they can to get partnered. Meanwhile, that's like a part of the formula, because ideally folks who have something new to offer are gonna eventually float to the surface, right? That's kind of what happens. So as much as it is helpful to understand your metrics and to have something to as a goal, it's more important to refine yourself and refine your craft. If you're always focusing on what you don't have, you'll never probably ever attain it, to be quite honest. That's something I had to learn pretty often.
Back a lot of times.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you touched on, because it's really interesting to me that before you had partner, you had that web sub, and it was so successful. But the way you talked about it kind of keyed me into it, that it was something that was requested and that you basically did and you offered. A lot of folks now, they don't offer, they request. So they're like, you know, hey, we're not partnered, but I have a Patreon or I have a Game Wisp. Please sub on there. And they'll be kind of forceful about it, to where it seems like monetization is their intent versus community. And I feel like those are the people, the monetization folks are the ones who are probably never going to get partner. They're probably the ones who are gonna try to manipulate their audience, and just folks that I would always be wary of. Not saying that folks who have, you know, monetization in mind
none of the
are
tools
evil.
Yeah,
but
none of the tools
it's
present are evil in and of themselves or anything like that. But you can use good things.
It's like a gun,
in
man.
a proper way.
They're just
It's
like
a gun, man.
Seriously, it absolutely is.
It makes sense. Like, it's all about what you focus on. So if your intent is to make as much money streaming as possible, like, be prepared for what that has to offer, and make sure, I hope, that maybe you might learn something along the way about what other things streaming has to offer. Because for me, streaming was, I found Twitch in a place where I needed it. I needed a place where, after freaking 8+ hours working retail and just having my mind fried, where I could just talk or lurk and hang out. And I found so many great places to do that. So many speedrunners that, because that's the community I was with, Ben and I, we started there. So many speedrunners, I wanted to be a part of their community and a part of the speedrunning community as a whole. And that's what I've been focusing on with what I built, because I want to find the other younger version of me, and I want them to find me so I can give them what I was given. Is that place to where finally I could have a place to unwind or feel accepted. Because that's kind of what Twitch is really special about. Is YouTube can give you an escape. And that's great. But Twitch, because it's live, can give you a home. And that's even more special. And that's why I personally love Twitch more than YouTube. YouTube, you can do freaking awesome stuff anyways. But Twitch, that's why it's special.
YouTube is a movie theater. Twitch is Cheers.
A place where everyone knows your name. Yep.
That's exactly right. And the most beautiful thing in the world is when a regular comes in the channel and says hello, like just happened in your channel, T, a little bit ago. Some dude I've never heard of, named Dado, dropped into your channel. 15 people. Hey, what's up? Hey, it's Dado. Like that kind of stuff. That is the goal for a community-oriented Twitch streamer. That is the goal. And every person that said hi, Dado, you are part of the solution. Like, that is the kind of stuff that streamers absolutely love seeing. Like, and it's interesting. Like, you guys were talking about the feature development. The key word is organic. Like, you talk to your chat, you talk to your community. Dude, most of the ideas for my channel came from my community. Me going, hey, what do you guys think about this? Or hey, what do you guys think would be a better way to do this, et cetera, et cetera. Like, in the mornings, I have a hello queue. It actually tracks, like, it puts it in a list of all the people one time that do the Cohh emote, so I can say hi to everyone in the mornings. That evolved from viewers and us just having conversations over a couple weeks' time. Like, hey, how could I say hi to you guys in the morning? But I don't want repetition. Okay, but what about a token limit? You know, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, I have this, like, verbose app that I now use every single day.
Yep.
And it all came from that little community aspect of, let's make people feel welcome. Let's make it so when they come into the channel, they're acknowledged. Let's kind of foster that atmosphere. And now in the mornings, dude, it's just literally walls of people saying hello to each other.
Yep.
There's nothing else like it in the world. It is a beautiful thing. And this is not just my Twitch channel. This is all Twitch channels that foster communities like this. And like, you look around the internet, you think about the world and how many different places can happen. It's so few these days. It's one of the reasons I think Twitch is such a special place, is because we can create environments like this and that people use them. And then when we all do together, it's just like, it's fantastic. I tried 10 years of leading guilds to make a situation like that. Never could quite get it to where I wanted. Then I found Twitch, and I was just like, this is it. Like, this is the platform for that type of thing. So it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
You touched on it a bit, and this also harkens back to the moderation thing from earlier, but with everyone saying hi to each other and welcoming each other, part of a welcoming community, and it's something it's kind of a really good sign early on that you know you have something, at least community-wise, is when it starts to self-moderate and kind of self-critique. And what I mean by that is, for example, if you have a rule where it's, let's say, no backseat gaming, and someone comes in your chat, they don't know you, and you're playing, let's say, Dark Souls. Man, people never backseat in Dark Souls, Teawrex. What are you talking about? You're crazy. So, let's say you're fighting the Nameless King, and you've been dying for 2 hours, right? And you're like, man, I should just sword and board. But everyone's like, no, wuss, you gotta parry. What, you know,
You got
that kind of thing.
Mace.
So you have someone come and chat, like, hey,
before you die.
Jap, hey Teawrex, hey, and they don't know me. They don't know my rules, even though they click through them now. That's a thing on Twitch now. So
Yeah,
they
click
choose
through
to
the chat
ignore what
rules.
the rule is, and they will say, hey Teawrex, why don't you do this? then seeing a regular come into chat, and they'll be like, oh, hi, random person. Could you try not to backseat? Just politely. That's not a moderator. That's someone who's just there. And then someone being like, oh, okay. Sometimes they get like, oh, was it backseating? And it's like, there's no helping you. But that is, you know, it's really, I love that. Because then that takes the edge off the potential having to use the hammer more often. Because when a community member says it versus, let's say, a law enforcement moderating officer, you know, people maybe don't feel as threatened. Because that's sometimes the thing is people are like, oh, who you tell what to do? Versus someone who's just like, hey man, we're trying to do that here. And I absolutely adore that. Because then that takes, you know, load off their backs. I feel like it creates a more welcoming community entirely. And then, you know, everyone enforces the rules, not just one person. You don't have people beating each other down. You have someone trying to just keep it a level playing field. I love that.
And the beautiful part about that, T, is that is a self-perpetuating process. When one person sees a non-moderator start to do that kind of stuff, they're going to go, okay, not only is that something that's done here, but non-mods can do that? I'm a non-mod. And then maybe the next time it's done and that person's not there, he's like, hey, just real quick, want to let you know, T doesn't really like backseating. And then all of a sudden, 2 more people see him. And it's just like, and it's that beautiful cascade that starts going through the community. We're the same way in our channel, where we have like a pretty strict set of rules, but it's not too bad. But at the same time, if someone does something just completely out of line, you'll see a wall of people being like rude at that guy, like doing the rude emote and looking like, what are you doing? You know, like doing it like, sometimes we have these few people that like to call it out for mods, so they'll be like, hey mod, like do a little hammer emote and point to the guy. It's just like, it's like that's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. That's kind of like it's a very good way of the hive mind process, where everyone's on the same page, everyone's kind of working together and kind of facilitating each other's good experience. Because that's something that I think is really important when everyone's working towards that same goal of having a smooth running community. When it's their community, when they take it on themselves to step up and be like, hey, this is a place I like to hang out. So if you could follow the rules, I would appreciate that. Then it's like the caster just wants to look at those people and be like, you.
The only double-edged sword you gotta watch out for is that one person who hits that point and then they start thinking they are a moderator. That's like the only downside of that.
The non-mod mod.
Yeah,
that's a line.
Like, but mine is like that's like
get super aggressive. Yeah.
Like,
hey, screw you, buddy. Shut up in here. And you're like, whoa, calm down, pal. Like we're here to have a good time.
Then you hammer that guy, and everyone sees that, and they're like,
oh, too much. Yeah. The banhammer as a broadcaster is a tool that you have to personally use in a unique way. Like you need to use it to guide discussion. Because if somebody's in chat and they see that you are the person that's banning everyone, they'll be like, why is this guy a dick?
Yeah.
Why is this guy a dick?
Especially now that it shows who's banning.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they'll see like, hey, look at all these guys are getting banned, and apparently Broman's just a dickhead. So, you know, like if I have to, even if it's something I usually ban for, like if somebody comes into my chat and says something extremely offensive, and like, I'll let it sit there and chat a little bit to see if one of my mods get it. And like, let's say they're all getting coffee or going pee, or it's 5 a.m. and none of them are awake. You know, I'll let it sit in chat and everyone can see it. And then people will be like, oh, gross. What is that? And then I'll remove it and then say, yeah, that was gross. Let's not do that here.
Yeah.
Because if you don't let people see it before they ban it, then you get sucked into the what did he say hole. And that is just, there's nothing I think a broadcaster hates more than like somebody comes in chat and they do something that's like insanely offensive. And then everybody's like, but what did he say though? Like, but what did he say? And you're like, you shouldn't care because it's horrible.
It's that morbid curiosity.
Yeah,
it's like, dude, it's like looking at a car accident, you know?
Yeah,
like it's one of those things. Like, I don't want to know what he said, but maybe I do a little.
Maybe a little. What if it was really
just
funny
a little bit
to myself? Just to me, though.
Plus, the one thing with like self-moderation is like, this is kind of the biggest overhead thing with community, is you need to always make sure you are leading your community and you are not being led by them. Because a lot of people kind of run their stream to where it's like, oh, chat, chat likes this meme. What if I incorporate more of this meme into my broadcast? And all of a sudden, this broadcast that was yours is slowly being shaped by what people like to watch. Which, on one hand, adaptability, that's great. You need to have that. But if you are never creating something that is kind of something that you want to do, and you're always being led by your chat for one thing or another, it's going to turn into, I would probably say, a cesspool. Because there is no leader in that regard. It's just kind of chaos, and some people love the chaos. Like look at like an event chat. It's just dumpster fire everywhere.
Live off that. Look at some of the top RuneScape streamers, Forsen, those kind of guys. And that's a style. That is a class of streamer that just lets their chat go nuts. They never even read it. You know, like the Rectfuls and those kind of guys. Just like a complete mess of chat. But here's the thing: they'll be the first to say that. Like, I don't feel bad saying their chat is complete shit, because they'll be on stream going, man, my chat is absolute asshole.
Yeah, you guys
and it's like, that's cool, because that's what you want from your chat. It's fun, it's memey, you guys are doing the spam, cool, whatever. Not for a lot of us, but if that's your thing, dude, go wild.
Exactly. So if you want to build a community, I would say that is not how you build a community. Because I wouldn't say, like, you can make the argument saying, well, that's the community is chaos. And I'm like, at that point, like, do you really want to make the argument? Sure, I guess you win. I'll concede to you if that's
we will graciously concede that point.
That's fine. But yeah, just keep that in mind. Try your best if you really want to lead a community to be a leader. I actually had a tweet a while ago because Deej, the community manager, was talking about just leadership in general. And I was just saying, like, hey, if you are an influencer, whether you're YouTube, Twitch, whatever, no matter how you view yourself, if there are people who tune in, listen to you, and form their opinions based on what you say, you are a leader. And then everyone thought all of a sudden that I was, like, on this high horse. And I was like, that's not at all what I was saying. It's that when you have the responsibility of an audience, make sure that you lead them, and you don't lead them off of a cliff. You know,
my Lord Probro, this Teawrex guy.
I hate him. He's so in charge right now.
Oh, dude, I couldn't agree with you more, T.
It's so true.
Just, or else you'll be in a blind leading the blind situation. Then you never know what kind of problems might get into that. No, it's totally okay to stream that game right now. Everyone else is doing it. Meanwhile, you have a hacked version of a game, and then Twitch takes down your channel because you weren't supposed to be streaming it, and you broke embargo.
DMCA is a bitch.
Oh my god. Yeah, and that's, you know, and the other thing with leading, and, you know, we'll say like game selection, because that's what this is about eventually, right? At the end of the day, we play video games sometimes. When you're leading, and if you decide like, hey, we're playing this game today, play that game. Like, and if people are coming in your chat and being like, there's less people here than there usually is, like, fuck them. Like, seriously, like, if your goal as a streamer is you're trying to diversify, or you want to play this game because it's fun for you, anybody who is going to come into your chat and the first thing that they say is something negative, fuck them. Like, they're not, if you don't recognize this person and they're not a regular, you need to not let that person control your mindset.
And please, just really quick, remember, when you ban someone, they can still watch if they want. Don't forget that. Yeah, if they're banned, they can still watch. You know, and that's not trying to say that, you know, you can definitely take, like, there's reasonable feedback and things like that, and you should listen to your regulars, but it's really easy, especially when you're trying to change things or make things different, to get led around by the nose and hit in the face, you know, like getting, you know, you keep getting hit in the face with a newspaper and you're trying to turn around and run away like a dog. And you're like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll just go back to what I always did. Because eventually you have to fight towards a new goal. Like, you always have to be advancing things. And that's a lesson that took me a long time to learn with community, was that if I'm going to do something, you just got to go, I'm going to do it. Do it. Because backing down is not a great way to lead.
Nope. Hell, I did that with my Elite Dangerous VR streams. Bad viewership, and I would lose followers for a 2 to 3 hour stream. But I love doing it. And that's one of the beautiful things, going back to what T said earlier, about splitting your stream up, having like a main portion and then a side thing. Like, do whatever you want. I mean, do you have fun? It's better than playing the game offline, I'll tell you that. Because then at least your regulars get to experience it, and you're catering to someone who is giving money to support you. I mean, why not? That's something that I think a lot of streamers don't put enough stock in. Is when you switch games and you lose that viewership, or you're playing a game that isn't as popular, don't focus on the people that aren't there. Focus that much more on the people that are, and really work hard on entertaining who's at the show. There is nothing worse than watching a broadcaster bitch about their numbers.
Oh God.
Nothing. That is an instant trigger for me to close that stream. The only other trigger for that is broadcasters that straight up joke about or ask for money on stream. Instant off for me. I don't care who you are. And I'll if I like you, I may come back later and watch your stream, but that is an instant trigger for me.
What's the extent of that? Because there's a running joke on my channel that I'd shut it down and show my wee on stream for $10 million. Is that an inappropriate joke for you?
That's a joke. That's different.
Yeah. I didn't know. I just wanted to know where the line was. I'm sitting here sweating like
no. It's the people who will like, what was it? I was in a stream a couple days ago, and they were talking about how much they'd love to stream Horizon, but they just can't afford a PS4 Pro right now. Man, it would suck if someone donated me enough money for that.
No, I know what you mean. It's that like elbow in the chest being like, wouldn't it be great if I got PS4? Like, just please.
No said bromance wee-wee's a joke.
No, seriously.
I understand where you're coming from. Yeah.
Not a joke.
But so I have a question then for you, Cohh. Because something I talk about, because I constantly get compared to Ben or a lot of other Destiny broadcasters, so I'm much more open with the conversation of numbers. Because someone's like, hey, Sam, like, we're like, let's say I'll be playing For Honor, or playing a game, it's not Destiny, and the people I share a lot of viewership with are online, so like, why are your numbers low? And I was like, oh yeah, they're kind of lower, because we're not playing Destiny, and these few folks are online. That's kind of why we're at right now, but I'm sure they'll pick up. Education. Is that the same thing? Or
commenting,
I'm just curious.
Discussing, talking about numbers, that's a Twitch thing. We're Twitch streamers. It's a completely different thing if you're sitting there going, man, more people should be watching me. Like, what the hell is going on today? Like, God, why? Maybe I should play something different. Hey, do you guys want to watch something different? Is this when the show becomes about your low numbers?
Yeah.
When you're sitting there talking about how more people should be watching you, or when you're so focused on it that it's ruining the show. That's like it's kind of interesting because there's this debate on Twitch about hiding your viewers. There's this big debate on Twitch about like some smaller streamers. There was this big thing about being able to hide your viewers so you can't see how many people are watching you. And in my mind, that's the dead opposite of what you should be doing. Now, this is my personal opinion, and I know there's a lot of people that disagree, and that's totally cool. But in my opinion, you should always analyze who's watching, because that's how you get better. That's how you see what works and see what doesn't. Don't treat it as something where it's like, oh, if this number isn't X, then I'm failing. Look at it and go, okay, this is a researchable variable, one of the few that I can actually look at, that I actually have math behind, that I can work with. So for me, like, I always have my viewers on the screen. I'm always analyzing how am I doing? What's going on? How many viewers did I get this day? I check my follows every single day to see how many followers I got, which games got the most followers, what's my community liking. I'll ping my community every few days and just be like, hey, do you guys like watching that? Like, what's going on with this? What would you think about it? Like, this little kind of stuff is huge. And getting to the point where you can respect your viewer number instead of be intimidated by it, that was a huge hurdle for me to get over. Because I used to be one of those people. Here's my little story. I grew up on Twitch with a streamer named Elohim. And Elo started the month after I did. Catapulted into fame. He had his sub button within 3 weeks of streaming, 500 plus viewers because he was streaming in the AM at the perfect time, right in the game that he needed to. He inadvertently did everything I'd recommend for newer streamers without even trying, and he was instantly successful. Then after that, he got in the good graces of Blizzard, started playing this little tiny game called Hearthstone, which then put his stream in the 3,000 to 5,000 to 7,000 viewers in his first few months. And here little Cohh was struggling to make 3 digits. And I'm sitting here looking at this other guy going, he started after me. He's literally 30 plus times my size. Like, how much do I suck? This is terrible. Like, I can't believe this. And I feel like so many little streamers fall into that, where they pick another streamer and they go, That's my goal. That's where I want to be. And if I'm not making positive progress towards that person every single day, I am failing, I am wrong, and this is bad. And it took me a long time to break out of that. And honestly, I was stressing myself so much out at the beginning of my streaming. I was losing weight because I was putting in more hours than Elo. I was streaming all these games I wanted to play, and my channel was going like this, or his channel was going like this. So It's kind of like learning how to tune that out and make you the goal. That's how I turned my channel around. I said I unfollowed a bunch of people that I used to track because I said I am not mentally at the point where I can look at all these people and not go, I am fucking jealous of every single one of you. Yep. I want to be where you are, and I'm not there, and that sucks, and I hate you all for it. You know, and so that would make my casts bad. So breaking out of that cycle is one of the golden tickets to having a stress-free, relaxed streaming environment. I can't tell you how much that helped breaking out of that cycle.
So you mention all that, and it's interesting you say that there's some people who don't want to see their viewer count. Because here's what I would say to that. If you cannot handle your viewer count and it is something you focus on too much, absolutely hide it. If it's something you are not emotionally able to handle at that moment or that day, or there is something else going on and it's not something you can measurably deal with or compartmentalize, and it ruins your stream, absolutely look away from whatever it is. Because a lot of the streams I had, and I still have, are mostly all self-made. It's a lot less technical problems and a lot more like, man, I can't believe that so-and-so had a 400-person subtrain today, and I'm fucking garbage. Man. It's something I still fall into. I am the most self-loathingest person I know. It is the worst. I am uncomfortably self-aware of myself.
That Teawrex is my brother. It's true. Like that's yep. Our dad.
That's been me my entire life. I mean I wrote a whole article on it. It's on Twitter right now if you really want to look at it. It's a pinned tweet. But it's about how like the concept of if you're not growing or dying is a good motivator, but it can also destroy you. Like emotionally, I was in a really shit place for a while because I was so driven. Like, so if there's something, and I guess that's the point I want to make, is if there is something that is driving you mad and you cannot handle whatever that is with your streaming career at the same time, if it's not food, water, family, something like that, cut it out. Like, you just don't need it. That can go for mods, viewers, maybe a friend who's not being supportive and kind of being an asshole to you. Like, try your best to remove as many self-destructive elements and enabling elements that you can, whether that's you losing weight. If you have a friend who's like, oh man, I see you're dieting, but what if we had a Twinkie together?
How many pieces of pizza do you want?
That's the point though, is that you can't really blame them because you're letting them do it. So do your best to self-moderate yourself with what you take in, with all the information you take in. If there's things you can't handle, get rid of them. If they're self-destructive, get rid of them. That's my actual personal 2017 New Year's resolution, is to remove more things that harm me that I shouldn't be a part of. And I've been pretty okay with that. I'm not the best at it, but I'm getting better. So that's probably like, that's just like a life point. That's like not even just streaming.
Yeah.
It's just,
well, that is not only a good point, but you're right. Just like I removed those people from my follow list at that point because I couldn't handle doing that. All those people are back on my follow list now. But it was only because of the process of kind of getting myself to that mental point. What I should have been a little bit more clear about, hiding your viewer count is a band-aid. But the end goal should be embracing your viewer count.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If it is distracting, just like you said, anything that's distracting you from putting on your cast, you should do what you need to do to medicate that specific angle. And if your viewer count is a central point of stress for you, sure, absolutely. But when you click hide on that viewer count, you should also be thinking in your head, like, one day I'm going to utilize that. Like one day, no matter what's behind that hidden word, no matter what number, I'm going to use that to help me get better.
Yep.
That's like, but again, if you're not at that point, you're not at that point. I used to not be at that point. So trust me, I feel you there.
It's tough.
It is a good goal to keep in mind, though. Have like, even when I used to unfollow those people, and even when I used to get pissed, like there was always this part of me where I was like, I know I'm gonna have to get over this. I know this is something that is temporary, but the end goal needs to be embracing, not ignoring, kind of thing.
I think that since you brought up your story with Elohim, I think that it's I would like to share from the other side of that. You got a lot of people know that I streamed with King Gathalion. You might know me or recognize me from his channel.
I thought you guys were brothers for months.
But for the longest time, people thought that me and Goth were brothers. But you know,
I exist, everybody. I just want to mention that I am an actual person who is related to Professor Broman by blood.
Just listen to them. I can't tell them apart.
It's not a joke.
Skype, this will be over.
We're not lying about it. Sorry, but continue, Pat. I just got to get that out
there. Yeah. So it is very easy to let someone else's success drive you nuts or defeat you. You know, and so I had a very similar experience with that, you know, and Goth's my close friend, and I wasn't about to let any of those negative feelings sort of overwhelm that. And I've spent like my whole childhood being around people who are like much more successful than me. Sam and I went to private school. We were the janitor's kids. Like, obviously, like there were these social stratas in between us. And this is my piece of advice. If you are a streamer and you have someone that you stream with, whether it's your best friend, your brother, sibling, girlfriend, boyfriend, the best thing that you can do for anyone who's being successful is to celebrate all of their success with them.
Yes.
The best thing you can do for anyone who's being successful is to celebrate all their success with them. By all means, and by doing that, you are both reinforcing the fact that relationship is based in reality and not off of business or whatever else fuck it could be based off of that would deter them from wanting to be your friend anymore. But also it lets you keep the lines of communication open. You can talk to them and say like, hey, I noticed that you're growing really fast. What are you doing to help yourself grow? And it doesn't come off as beggy. It comes off as a friend conversation. Celebrating everyone's success and celebrating the success of those around you is a fucking surefire way to keep yourself out of like the depression valley and the comparison valley that you can fall into, because you don't have time to be sad if you are too busy being excited for someone else. But Goth and I both spend every day trying to
excellent advice for the record. Excellent advice.
And that was and that was you know, that was something, and the hardest thing about me for that in particular on Twitch chat is that you always have dickheads that come up and they say shit like, aren't you jealous of your friend? And I'm like, no, I'm happy for them. And you can say it with that tone of voice and they're still like, wow, what a shill, look at this lion sack of shit. And I mean, that's it. That's my advice. Celebrate other people's success. You won't really have time to feel sad, and it opens up the doorways for you to do amazing things together. You know, things like Guardian Con and you know, the barcade that we're working on and all this other stuff. Those things wouldn't be happening if jealousy got in the way of any of the relationships that we have together. You know, it's very important to keep it on point.
Twitch works in waves. I mean,
Absolutely.
It works in waves, and people have realized outside of Twitch. And I mean, it could happen. And having that kind of outlook on it is not only incredibly important, but understanding that at any time, those tables could flip. And then all of a sudden, you're the one that's getting all the viewers and other sides. And then, you know, your buddy is doing the same thing you did to him, and you're sitting there. They're happy because they have, you know, you were there for them. You're happy because they're now here for you. And you guys know moving forward that who cares who's on top? You guys are working together. And it's like at that point, their win is your win. Your win is their win. I mean, it's kind of great because I've started that relationship with a lot of other variety streamers. In fact, that was one of the founding principles of my stream team, New Game Plus, was it's like, dude, rising tide rises all boats. Like we're all kind of in this together in some degree. And just like I call the streamers my coworkers, especially up at my level, it's like, that's how this all functions. If any one of us does well, if any one of us gets exposure, if someone gets a big new interview or an awesome opportunity, or, hey, that dude just got this game 3 days early. Perfect example, Tangent Gaming and King Gathalion, Nintendo ambassadors for a console coming out in a week and a half. I don't have that opportunity. Nintendo won't even talk to me. Like, I'm mad about it. We don't know
I want to play Zelda, though.
But it's like, Like, we had a New Game Plus meeting yesterday, and like 4 times in the meeting, I was like, Tangent, this is so cool! Like, right? You get to play Zelda before anyone else! Like, this is huge for you. This is awesome. This is a golden ticket. You know, and it's like, that kind of thing really matters. Not only for them, but, you know, when the tables turn, that's how all of that good vibe kind of really positive echo.
It spreads around. It spreads around, and it starts, and that's the thing. And this was now they know. It starts with
oh wait,
it starts. I don't know if you weren't.
I was never told anything wasn't supposed to be said.
We just fucked everybody, dude.
They get to play an hour early than everyone else. What's the big deal? I'm kidding, guys.
Oh no.
I'm kidding. Let me be perfectly clear here. Let me be perfectly clear. I have no idea on dates, times. I don't know what they're doing. I literally, all I know is that they're ambassadors, and I'm guessing Nintendo's hooking them up, but who knows?
Yeah,
I mean, didn't that happen with Xenoblade or whatever?
This is you meant like that you screwed you. Like,
so
man, I wish.
So two
that
things.
was awesome. Yeah,
I completely agree with everything that was just said. It's a lesson that I was forced to learn, because as much as Ben is attached to Goth, imagine being physically related to the person who is wildly successful. Like, that's something I will have to live with forever, and like it's something I've had to confront and deal with. And I won't lie, it fucking gets me sometimes where I'm like, fuck, I feel like a piece of shit because my friends are doing so well and I'm down here at X, you know, whatever X is at that time. And I've just had to learn to be like, fucking work on other things, work harder. I try to use my emotional turmoil as a motivator. That's my way of compartmentalizing. My girlfriend doesn't like how much I work. Oops. The way it is. And then to touch on what you said, Cohh, about like how it can flip. There is an article I've been writing because I've been trying to like write more, because I just love writing, and I'm trying to get words on paper because I'm much more eloquent in text than I am in person, and it's something I rarely ever use. So, Twitch and life and careers are made of moments, and everyone always focuses on the grind. They forget about the moments. I do not believe that the grind on Twitch is a workable thing anymore, except in very specific situations. I think careers and communities and growth is built on specific moments. Some are accidental, some are on purpose, some you have planned. For example, No Man's Sky comes out. It's a game that everyone was excited for, but then it had a really rough reception, and people didn't really enjoy it. I fucking did. I honestly don't play it on my own time, but I love fucking streaming it. I get to move my camera to the middle of the screen. I have these goddamn
stupid glasses,
fucking goggles I get to wear when I'm flying around, and I get to fly a spaceship. Like, for a casting thing, I love doing it. And I found myself in an accidental moment of me being at the top of the No Man's Sky directory, dicking around out of nowhere, because everyone else abandoned it. And I had a great time. I wish I didn't have to defend my enjoyment of a game so much, but minus that, like that's what happened. Dude, pretty much it was stop having fun. But that's what I think people need to work on, is either creating your own moments, because I'm doing some things for Destiny that I won't talk about, but I'm putting a lot of goddamn effort into, and trying to reinvigorate some things on my channel, because that's what I have control over. I have control over the moments that I can try to manufacture. I can't control what is on the horizon. All I can do is look out for it and try to pay attention. And if I find myself in one of those moments, I better be prepared. So keep that in mind for the future if you are streaming, or if you're working a desk job. You never know when all of a sudden, like, you have a project dropped in front of you, and you're like, shit, this is really important, and if I do well at this, maybe I get promotion or a raise. Like, that's what life is. It's identifying the moments and getting through the grind. So keep an eye out, because it's really freaking important you don't miss those. You don't know how many you get.
Good point. Good point. It's actually one of the reasons I went into variety streaming. Bar none. Is to find those moments. Is to put my channel in a place where those moments are more frequent, which is new releases. End of story.
Yep.
So when I started early, I was like, that's where I want to be. And then I was like, okay, I spent weeks, actually months, researching time slots, seeing, okay, where should I be? What days should I be there? So I came up with my schedule. And now, sure enough, it's fantastic. Like, I remember vividly a part of my streaming life when I said, there is no foreseeable way for me to ever be able to compete with existing streamers. I told myself that I started streaming on Twitch too late, that it's too late for me, that all the big streamers are big, and that the Manverse games and the Lethal Frags, they'll always get the viewers, and it's too late. I missed the bus, I missed the wave. But I said, you know what, I'm still going to try. I'm still going to do my absolute damnedest to get there. And it took me a couple years. But all I got to say is every time someone says that to me now, I just kind of smile and kind of just nod at them. Oh, it's too late to start on Twitch, yeah?
Too late.
Okay.
That's, okay. I mean, yeah, no, I absolutely
that's fine.
had the...
You want to think that?
I had the same experience. Like, I started 4 years ago, right? In January, 4 years ago. And I thought, there's no fucking way in this oversaturated market anything's going to happen. So I am just going to stream Borderlands 2 from my couch and speedrun it and hang out with my 3 friends from the SDA forums. And then 4 years later, I'm here. You don't know what's going to happen. You need to put yourself in positions where you can make your own moments. And the other thing, and this was something that was a hard lesson for me last year, but I had to learn it. You also need to be okay when things in your life prevent you from being able to run everything the way that you wish you could.
Yeah.
Over the course of the past year and a half, I moved from St. Louis to Florida. I got married. And bought a house. That's a lot of fucking shit.
That's a lot of fucking shit.
And so, and I hate to say that I learned the lesson too late, but I learned the lesson too late. I spent a vast majority of that time very frustrated and angry that I was just out, like this thing was out of my control. And like, that was my streaming schedule for the longest time, was the thing that I had a death grip on, and I wouldn't let go of it. Like, this is a thing I know no matter what, I have control over this. And then shit just happens. Like today, the AC unit install guy just fucking stormed into my room and was like, hey, can I get your credit card information, mister? And like started talking about my address and shit on my channel. And I'm like, the fuck? And I smacked my mute button and I looked at him and I was
new house.
Yeah. And I was like, please, I hit mute before he was like that. And I was like, the fucking shit, you know, but like shit like that, just, it's always, there's things to get in the way. Things that are going to get in the way. So if you are in a situation where like other things are taking priority, whether it's planning a charity marathon or trying to do normal life stuff, like get married, get in shape, have a kid, Cohh, like whatever, like there's all of these things
that's happening, isn't it?
Oh fuck. But like you need to, and maybe this isn't for every size of broadcaster. Maybe you have to be a bigger broadcaster to feel this way. I don't personally think so. But there's always things that are going to take your energy, and sometimes you have to devote your energy to things outside of Twitch, and that's okay. As much as you want to constantly be reinventing yourself and constantly be improving, there's periods of time in your life where you are just not going to have the creative energy to do that. Like I rebranded my channel recently with Captain Twaz. But I had, before I actually finally got to the point where that was finished, I had been wanting to do it for like 6, 7, 8 months. But I just simply didn't have the time to like sit down on my computer and type a 3-sentence email to somebody that said, I would like things to look different. Because at the end of every day, I was just dead. So I would recommend, for the sake of community, to try and take big changes in your life in small pieces. And don't bite them all off and jam them all the way down the back of your throat and try not to throw up, because that's what I did.
Yep.
It's hard. Yeah,
it's
no one
okay
knows my
to let
address.
Life be life.
Life needs to be life sometimes. No, life needs to be life sometimes.
When you're as dedicated as a lot of folks are on Twitch, it's very difficult. It's very easy to forget that you are a human being. You have needs, you have desires that maybe don't all involve Twitch. You maybe have a family, friends,
Mm-hmm.
And stuff like that is...
Wait, what are those?
Well, they're irreplaceable, Cohh. That's one thing.
Oh, shit.
You lost them? Oh, you fucked. Sorry, bud. Can't get them back.
The shade.
But the point being is that it's okay. Like, it's really crazy, because I feel like we're in a world that fetishizes being overworked, and it's very weird.
Yes.
So don't ever.
I didn't know
feel
where you were
bad.
going with that for a second, and I was like,
but it's the truth though. Like,
good word.
when it's like the joke of like, I never get sleep. Everyone says that now because a lot of folks are really committed to maybe doing 12 hours of work, and then they have like that 2-3 hours of like them time, and they want to have that them time before they go to sleep. And it's the same with working, like, you're talking about working 70 hours a week? I'm working 80 hours a week. And it's like, fucking, there's a 40-hour work week, and there's 2 people bitching about having almost double that. Like, that's the community and world we live in now. So, I guess, don't let that kind of stuff interfere with your community, especially. If you feel overworked, because I don't have days off, because I just like streaming too much. And it's hard for me to occasionally be like, you know what, I am just burnt. I need a day to just, like, sit in my chair and talk to no one, read a book, do the things I really enjoy doing outside of streaming to kind of, like, revitalize myself. Next day, hit it hard. Don't feel bad for taking those days, for taking those evenings, going to a PAX event. Like, those are all things that are equally as important. And it's really difficult to put a number on that, because I'm very analytical. I'm analytical, and it's awful sometimes. So when I leave, like, to go to a PAX event, and I come back to less subs, and I'm like, how this happened? It's like, because you didn't fucking stream for 2 days, idiot. Why would you think it was gonna happen?
Why the fuck do you think it was gonna happen?
Well, you weren't streaming. There's no way that number goes up. Are you an idiot? Like, but that's how I feel sometimes, is I need to remember, wait, this is fine. You can't put a sub number in association with going to a networking event, or going out to dinner with some friends, or flying to go to your brother's wedding. Stuff like that you can't really put in front of the analytics, because they don't stack up. Because in reality, those things are always more important than that. Always.
And not only that, but a lot of times those types of things will give you opportunities that could directly tie back into those subs you lost.
Exactly.
So, like, let's say you go to PAX and you meet a few key people and you become friends with some folks you never thought you would. And then you lost 100 subs while you were gone. But guess what? 2 of those people rated you that you met at PAX, and all of a sudden you're 1,000 viewers up from normal, and a huge sub train starts that you never would have had. Like, that kind of stuff happens. And it's like, networking is in our industry in some cases just as important as actually being there streaming. And it's a huge deal. And all of that, just like you said, T, that kind of non-tangible stuff really adds up over time. And in some cases can make or break you in the right circumstances. So it's pretty important stuff.
It's interesting. It's interesting for sure. It's doing a show like this is always kind of at odds with me as a streamer, because I feel like a lot of the stuff, even if much as we talk about it, you can't teach. Because everything is unique to the individual with how you stream and how you approach things. So the one takeaway that I probably say every single time when we do these events and when we do these podcasts is, do whatever feels best for you. The way you run your stream, the way I run my stream, or any of us run our streams, may be vastly different than yours. And I simply can't teach you how to do that. Only you can. Go on a journey of self-discovery of what you want out of your stream, and then crush it. Use some of the things that we've kind of shared, and be like, you know what, I like this, and I like this, and now this is mine. Like, you'd put that your own spin on it. I think Cody Hargraves, Excessive Profanity, said it best, is, how do you learn how to stream? And I think the best answer I've heard, and it's probably the most truthful answer, is you watch a fuck ton of Twitch. And you pay attention.
Yep.
And then you see what works, what doesn't work, what you like, what you don't like, and then you do it. Simple as that.
You basically just described how I built my channel to the point that I started, that I am right now. In the last almost 4 years, that's exactly what I have done. That's, I mean, I couldn't say better.
Smart guy.
I'm really not.
Yeah, no, you're smart.
Well, you play it well on TV.
Smart dinosaur. Cody, you need to be out of here soon.
Yeah, Jesus, has it already been an hour and 50 minutes?
Yeah.
Damn, that flew by
I
quick.
told you. I
I was watching the clock on you.
You did. You warned me at the beginning. That's true. That's true. But no, I mean we've covered so much today.
We have.
This is the kind of podcast that I wish so much that I had seen in my first month on Twitch.
Why we started doing it,
dude. I can't even tell you. I was on Twitch for 3 months, and then I had what I call the dark ages, where I had no idea what I was doing. I wasn't doing research. I'd never seen a podcast like this, and for 2 months, I tried in vain streaming like 16 plus hours a day. Like I said earlier, was losing weight, streaming the wrong game in the wrong category. It was miserable. Almost quit on my 5th month. Almost quit Twitch. If I had not just stopped completely and gone back to the drawing board, started doing exactly what Teawrex just said, researching other streams. What are these people doing that are succeeding? Why? What are they doing that they succeed that I like, that I would want to incorporate? Start looking around, start finding out what's best. Also keeping in mind that I needed to come up with things that were unique to mine as well, like keeping that perspective. That is what got me back into Twitch. That is when I started being successful on Twitch, was doing everything that I've heard on this podcast. So yeah, it's important, man. It's important. And most importantly, like if you're hearing this podcast, you're like, I'm going to start on Twitch, be open to new ideas, be open to try things. Do not get down on yourself if you fail. Like, that is the biggest piece of advice I can give. Things aren't going to work. I have tried so many things on my channel that have not worked, that I've straight up scrapped. That's part of the process. You're just doing that is finding what fits you. So the fact that you tried, that's a positive in itself. So keep looking, find your voice, and most people, if they keep at it, will at one point find something. Even the worst. I'm gonna be blunt here. Even the streamers that are clearly not gonna make it, the streamers that have been streaming on Twitch since it came out and still average between 50 and 100 viewers, even those communities are exceptionally important. They may not be paying your mansion, they may not be buying you new cars, but you have a place you can go to every day, that you have friends that like watching you, that are appreciative of what you do, and in this world today, it's exceptionally important.
The size of the house is not nearly as valuable as the people who are in it.
Damn right.
I agree. So I think that is a great way to wrap up this conversation. Cohh has things he needs to go do.
Wait, can we tap beer bottles together? Hold on.
They're gonna do the tap.
Right, hold on.
Which way am I going?
Go
Left
this
or right?
You're right. Okay, yeah. Hold up. I got it closer. Right there. Perfect. That was flawless. Your hands off the screen. That was fine. Good enough. It's good enough. It's good enough.
So let's have everybody plug their stuff, and we'll wrap this up. Cohh, you lead us out here.
Awesome. Well, first of all, a huge thank you to Teawrex and ProfessorBroman. This was a huge amount of fun. Hi, my name is CohhCarnage. I stream every single day, currently over 3 years of streaming every single day at 8 a.m. EST. We do new games, 100% runs, franchise playthroughs, classic games, community games, anything you can think of. I probably played at my channel at some point. And you can find me at twitch.tv/CohhCarnage. Tomorrow we're starting with Metro Last Light. We just finished it today for the first time ever. I'm going to be playing the DLCs tomorrow. Then we're going to be doing more For Honor, and then we got some big midnight release plans for Horizon Zero Dawn. So hope to see you guys there for that. Bring your sleeping bag. It's going to be fun. But anyway, seriously, thank you, ProfessorBroman and Teawrex. This has been nothing but a great time. And I really hope that if you're a new streamer or aspiring streamer, that some of the stuff you heard today helps. Because frankly, that's more than we could ever ask. Hopefully your experience is a little bit smoother than ours.
Absolutely.
So,
that's why we do this. T?
Hi, I'm Teawrex. You're watching on my channel if you're here right now. If you're watching on YouTube, twitch.tv/Teawrex is the Twitch channel. I'd love to see you here. Right after this, we'll be playing more For Honor. I'm almost 4th Prestige with my Peacekeeper. Nice. It's been really fun. I've been dying a lot to pits and to things I'm sad about, but I still enjoy it. Those little nuggets of like dominating somebody, just you can't replace that. All that rage is just immediately made up with being like, I just destroyed that guy's family and he's not coming back ever. Like, feels great. So if you want to see that, feel free to stick around. When we stop the podcast, I will keep streaming, go back to that. Otherwise, I stream every day. Twitch.tv TEAWREX. On Twitter, I'm twitter.com/TheTeawrex. That's where you find me. But yeah, I love playing games. Destiny's great. It's the kind of the home away from home I always have. But I love playing lots of games. Ben.
All right. And yeah, to wrap it all
It's
up, I'm
not, that's
Professor
not
Broman.
CohhCarnage, Professor Broman.
I am Professor Broman. You can watch me at twitch.tv/Professor Broman. I'm also on Twitter at Professor Broman. I will also be joining Cohh at midnight for Horizon Zero Dawn because I literally can't not
thanks,
play that
Cohh.
game. I got too
Dude,
excited.
Is it multiplayer?
I don't know if it is, but if it is, we should play together.
I'm playing at midnight too, so
all
I
three
think
of
doing
them.
a
that.
lot of streamers are playing at midnight.
yeah, I think a lot
especially
of people
after
are
the
gonna be
reviews
excited.
that came out.
The
a couple
reviews
days
are sick, yeah. So you'll be able to catch all three of us at midnight for Horizon Zero Dawn next week. Make sure to tune in next time to Streaming 101. It'll probably be on my channel. As you guys know, we haven't been doing this as frequently as we would like to be doing, but we'd like to try and make sure that every single time we do this, it is so jam-packed with information. You want to come back and listen to it again and again. Honestly, this has been probably the best podcast that we've done of this. And if you are a streamer, the things that we discussed today, I would recommend listening to this once a month to get your perspective in check. I probably will too.
I would say we should have Cohh on again.
I think that's a good idea. If
It's
Cohh
been
would
a
like
pleasure,
to.
guys.
Yeah.
All right,
Anytime,
cool.
and
Great.
just give me a
All
yell.
right. So, guys, thank you very much from me and Teawrex and CohhCarnage. You guys have a fantastic night, and we will catch you next time. Bye, guys.